Welcome to Two Travel Dads Podcast. Here we share our favorite destinations, travel tips, stories from our adventures, and tips for saving money. Be sure to subscribe and check out our detailed show notes at twotraveldads.com/podcast-episodes. Hey, welcome back to Two Travel Dads Podcast. I'm Rob, and today I have one of my favorite co-hosts joining. We've got Kelly. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. It's a beautiful sunny day in Florida. How is it up in Maine?
Oh, it's about 35
Oh,
and yeah, kind of gray.
I won't talk about our 81 degrees then. So,
Don't, thank you very much.
yeah. But hey, you know what I wanted to talk about today? I thought we could talk about our amazing adventure that we had on the Rocky Mountaineer luxury train in Canada.
So wonderful. Happy to. Yes, let's do that.
I'm so glad I can twist your arm on this one. Well, gosh, I think kind of where I wanted to start is I want to ask you about your experience on it, because I think we experienced it very differently, because I'm always in work mode even when I'm having fun and traveling. And I think you got to really experience it as somebody who's just there for the adventure and the scenery. And I feel like we probably had varied experiences on it, you know?
Yeah, you kept going outside and taking your big camera and going to get some pictures, and you got some amazing shots, even on a moving train. Amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the luxury of it all. As a matter of fact, the comfort of the chairs and that they reclined and were heated. That was really lovely. And the huge windows that you could just lay there and relax and look out the window. They had a nice publication on board that they had put out that talked about the different locations we were going to stop, that I flipped through a little. And then I think you came in and joined me for, was it the morning little snack? I think we had a coffee and a pastry right after we had a nice break from the beautiful breakfast that we first served.
And I'm going to pause you. We didn't even talk about what the Rocky Mountaineer is. I just jumped right into it, assuming that everybody who is listening totally knows what it is. Did you know what it was before we boarded?
No, I did not. I did not. I think it's on a lot of people's bucket list, though, because when I mentioned it, they were eyes lit up and people were like, I've heard of that. I want to do that.
Yeah. So if you don't know what it is, the Rocky Mountaineer is this fantastic luxury. It's actually like a sightseeing train. And it's a multi-day journey, whichever route you go. And there's several different routes. You can go from Vancouver to Banff. You can go up to Jasper National Park in northern Alberta. There is a route down here in the United States that goes between Denver and Moab, Utah. But yeah, it's this really fantastic luxe way to go from point A to point B, either in Canada or down here in the Rockies. And it is high class. The scenery is amazing. There's food. You don't have accommodations on the train. You stay in a hotel overnight instead of sleeping on the train. It's so different and it's so wonderful. And I hope we get to do it again.
Yes, me too. Yes, definitely. As I mentioned, people that I mentioned it to had heard of it and knew it only to be something for a very special time in life, like a family trip with the grandparents. I love that it could be an intergenerational kind of bucket list trip, because you've got your whole family captive there to be together, and the train cars allow for just enough connection with the people around you. So I think that's what came to my mind too, being on that train, is how great it would be for a grandparent trip to bring some of their families onto, since it's
Yeah.
so free and comfortable. And if you have, maybe varied mobility, it's easy to come and go off the train, as opposed to having to get through airports and
Yeah.
taxis. That they just take care of every need. The staff is outstanding. It's just really luxury the way they've done it.
Yeah. And that's a good point about the mobility. I know. So you and I, we rode with the gold leaf service, which is the top tier. There's either silver leaf or there's gold leaf, and we got to experience the gold.
Mm,
There was even, in addition to being able to board the train, like if you had a wheelchair, there's also that little elevator to
mhm.
make it so that the upstairs, the viewing part of the car was totally accessible and wide enough for somebody who does have a mobility device. I thought that was
Yeah,
great.
that was really uh, something that occurred to me that would be a great thing for a family to do with the
Yeah.
grandparents. Yeah.
Yeah. So thinking about the route we did, so you and I were on, it was called First Passage to the West was the official title of the train route that we were on. We started in Vancouver, BC, and then we ended at we disembarked at Lake Louise, but you can continue all the way down to the Banff train station. As we went along, just thinking, I know that we probably don't have a map right in front of you right now, but do you recall what was, as we were on the train, what was the most kind of breathtaking sight, or what was your favorite just kind of train moment taking in the scenery? And then I'll tell you mine because
Yeah.
mine is totally geeky.
I think definitely when you come around and start to see the amazing Canadian Rockies. I've seen a lot of mountains being a Northwest girl and a skier, and I am still in awe of those mountains too. I mean, it just stunned me. Just they are jagged and beautiful, and you're just weaving gently right through the middle of them, and they're just on either side of the train. And I think I just had tears in my eyes. It was so beautiful, and I was just so grateful in that moment to be there.
Yeah, thinking back, because a lot of my time on the train was spent observing you. It was, well, it's amazing because, like I said, you and I, we travel very differently for all the travel we do together, and
Yep.
we see and experience everything so differently. And every time that I like went outside to take pictures or whatever, and then came back to you, you had cocktail in hand, just staring out the window, just kind of like you said, just kind of misty eyed,
Yeah.
or you had switched seats to the other side of the train so that you could look out that way, and you were chatting with somebody, and watching you was kind of actually one of my highlights. um it was amazing. But as far as the scenery and things that I saw from the train, not just on the train, um I think that my favorite moment, and this is where I get a geek out, was when we got to go through the spiral tunnels. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. You know
Yeah,
me and not so much.
I
I
know.
get about the tunnels. I get excited about the mountains.
I know. So because I've done the road trip across the Canadian Rockies so many times, I always make this stop, on Canada One, and I always look at the little thing that talks about the spiral tunnels and this marvel of engineering, because
Series.
it's this, yeah, it's these two pigtail
Amazing.
tunnels. Yeah, they're carved into the Rockies, and it makes it so that you don't just fly down from the mountains at a million miles an hour, and it makes it so you can climb
Corkscrew.
up. And yeah,
Going,
yeah,
yeah. That was amazing. I had no idea that was coming up. I was like, wait, what? What's going to happen? We're going to
yeah,
cork through the middle of the mountains on a train. No
yeah.
idea possibility. So that is definitely for those friends and family members who are way into trains, which is so many people I know. And, some feats of engineering to be thrown in there for entertainment and something to totally geek out on. Absolutely. That was really amazing. And then to see it on the way, how was that we saw it? We saw what we had come through.
Oh,
On the,
because I think we saw it afterwards, because once we disembarked, you remember, you and I, we had our own little thing going
oh,
on, and we rented a car and we went back to do some stuff that we only saw from the train. So we went back and we did Yoho National Park. And that's where the spiral tunnels were. So we got to get off of, the train, and we had a car a few days later to go back, and we got to see them from there. And you could see
yeah,
where they enter and then where they exit. And it's phenomenal. And I
really
geek
is.
out every time.
Yeah, part I didn't anticipate.
Yeah. Um, One of the other questions that I had for you was, we're talking, it's luxury, it's a train, there's beautiful scenery and all that. I kind of want to talk about the meal service, because since there's not hotel accommodations on the train. People think, going on a multi-day train journey, you're going to be sleeping on board.
Right.
The luxe side of the hospitality really, I feel like, comes from the different like meal services and, you know, afternoon cheese service and stuff like that. Was there anything that particularly stood out to you, either a particular menu item that you enjoyed or the way it was done? Tell
Well,
me about your foodiness of it.
the foodiness. Well, I have to first say that the employees and the staff, because, you and I come from hospitality and we know what it takes to keep people satiated and calm. And the people that run those really know what they're doing. And they were just so professional. And they had different options because, me, I'm all gluten free and everything.
Yep.
So that was really nice that they had options for all of the courses in my allergy needs. Um, Taking those into account. I think the salmon was probably my favorite, which is often the case, as you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
salmon. And then the chef was rather interesting and extremely handsome. Remember him?
Oh my
He came
gosh.
about the food. Maybe that had salmon.
Oh, yes, the chef definitely sold you and several other people on the onboard dining experience. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, he out of the whoa. Where you been hiding? Anyway, no, the salmon was great. I loved that there was always a wine pairing because we were the wine industry people too for a minute there out in Washington. So I love the food pairing. I love that they sat you with different people, or you could sit just with your partner that you came on the trip with. I thought that was kind of fun because, meeting people from around the country who are on this luxury trip of a lifetime. Everyone's pretty much got that great, yeah, good energy. They're excited and happy, and you're getting this wonderful service with the beautiful scenery going by. It's just really a magical, special thing to do.
Yeah, no, it was, I, it's difficult to kind of compare a luxury train experience like that with, fine dining and wonderful attentive service to like a nice hotel stay because they're so completely different. One of them is this fully just immersive, all-encompassing experience, and then staying in a nice hotel is just lovely, and then you go about your day.
Yeah, no, this is definitely, you feel like you're transported to a different place while being transported to a different place.
Exactly, right. And it kind of also makes me think like, gosh, is this what train travel and plane travel used to be like a long time ago before it became what it is today? Like, it
Yeah,
felt vintage.
it felt vintage. You felt like you were going back in time, yeah, into a simpler place where it was just, you know, relax and enjoy the scenery, and we'll take care of everything for you. I think it's just such a special. I know I keep saying that over and over, but I guess I wasn't really prepared for what was going to happen as usual. I'm just like, sure, where are we going? And I'll pack a bag where we're going next. But that one really just stunned me. And I think I love the pictures that we took of everyone disembarking and the smiles and the friendships that were made and the hugs, and everybody just really had an over the top experience. There's so many reasons we could go on and on about it. But I think also, like you said, seeing others enjoy it and seeing others be shocked by the beauty of the mountains, you
Yeah.
know, just like stunned. It went from chatter chatter to like, oh my gosh, wow. And just everyone was just stunned silent when they saw the
Yeah.
beauty.
Yeah. Well, and
The lake.
especially because I mean, we started in Vancouver, and when you're going on the train out of Vancouver, you don't start in the best part of the city.
No,
And it's a very metropolitan place with such, it's not just all the fancy buildings downtown. The Rocky Mountaineer station is beautiful, but then you do have to go through like graffiti and stuff like that.
like,
And then you launch into farm country, and then from farm country to the mountains, and mountains to the lakes, and lakes to Kamloops. And
yeah, it's
I,
kind of a peeling away of the city. So,
that's a perfect way to say it. You totally do peel away little bits of British Columbia as you continue on the train until you are up in the mountains.
okay. That's my second favorite moment, is rounding the bend and seeing Chateau Lake Louise. Oh, I've always wanted to go there. I don't even think you told me we were going to stay there until like the day of or something. And I was just so stoked and excited.
Oh,
It's beautiful. It's like a castle. It's the closest I've ever been to going to a castle.
yeah. No, and it's funny.
That are there.
I feel like we could record an entire podcast episode just about the hotels that we stayed at and on that trip because we did gosh, we stayed in two in Vancouver, we stayed in one in Kamloops, we stayed at the Chateau Lake Louise, then we stayed at the Mont Royal, the
Oh,
Mount Royal in Banff, and then we finished at the Fairmont Palliser in Calgary.
yeah.
And I feel like we could talk about each one and then talk about the food at each one.
Yes. The Fairmont,
But
Vancouver, just the party they had when we got there was so cool. And it was
oh,
cherry season. Remember that room with all
oh
the
yeah.
pink cherry blossoms? And oh yeah, it was very unique and special. And people from all around they'd come on that press trip. So that was kind of fun. There was a girl from Australia and a guy from England. Um,
Yeah, we had gosh, and people from around the States and around Canada.
yeah,
It was great. So kind of taking a different twist from the amazingness of it. I know that I personally tend to get motion sick. You've seen me get sick on boats
yeah.
and stuff. um, so how was the motion for you? We talked also a little bit about the tunnels and going through there. What was the actual like as far as like the transportation experience like from your point of view? Did you have any time where you were like, oh goodness gracious, or was it just bliss?
Honestly, when there's, that kind of situation and delicious food to look forward to, I just talk my into making it work.
Excellent.
Have any problem with any motion sickness. I felt like often the train was going a little bit slower than a regular train would go. So it wasn't that jostling and, the repetitive slamming of a train that's going much faster. At times it went fast for sure. So those people that want to go fast on a train are going to get that experience too.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for the most part, like with all the service going on in the carts too, and the cooking and everything, I think they take that into account with the speed. So I didn't feel sick at all.
No, I know that there was like I had like one or two moments over our 2 day journey where I certainly was thankful to be able to get outside
Yeah.
because yeah, I'm more sensitive to motion, I think, and trains will do that to me anyways.
Yeah. It
Um,
was
but
nice to be able to get outside. I really enjoyed that too.
yeah, having that wonderful platform was amazing.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that is also being able to look in front of you because with us, having that nice gold leaf double decker car, we had that unobstructed view all across the front of the train, and that I think really helped me with motion sickness because if I was starting to get everything's whizzing by me, all I had to do was look out the front and it would kind of just like clear up in a heartbeat.
I would definitely say if you're someone who's prone to getting motion sickness to do the gold leaf package because you are up above. I think
Yeah.
being down low might make you feel a little worse.
Yeah.
But they do have, the things you put behind your ear and the Dramamine and the things that go around your wrist. So probably just a good idea when you're making this kind of purchase to be sure you have all of the motion sickness devices that you may need to call on.
But that's not how you and I roll. We just roll with showing up and having a good time and dealing with our consequences.
Sometimes we're getting better. We've got our little dop kit of all the things we need.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
we have kids.
What was that?
We have children. We must always have
I know,
and
I know,
something things
but
with.
but when I travel without my kids, I tend to not bring all the stuff that I would normally bring to make sure they are okay.
Yes, that's true. But then there's us. We need it too.
Yeah.
Need our.
Um, so here's another kind of a fun question. If you were going to be taking anybody on a Rocky Mountaineer journey besides me,
Of course.
who would you go with and what route would you go? Would you do the rainforest route to Jasper? Would you do the mountain route to Jasper? Would you do Banff and Lake Louise again? Or would you hit up the Denver to Moab and Arches National Parkway. Which who would you go with, and which one would you do?
Well, where would I go? Where would I go is the easy part. Definitely back up to Jasper. Definitely back through the Canadian Rockies. I'd never seen them before. I mean, just Whistler, but they are stunning. And the lakes, that those teal blue lakes, yes, definitely Jasper. I haven't been out there somehow growing up in Seattle. I never made it out there. Um, but who would I take? Well, I'd have to take my husband.
Oh,
I think Jeff would really love it. He loves trains, he loves engineering, he loves mountains. He really loves mountains. So
I bet Jeff would geek out about the spiral
yeah.
tunnels.
Oh, he totally would. He would totally geek out about that. He'd love to study about it and talk about it. And he'd love to lounge in those chairs, those heated leather chairs, and just zone out the window as you go. It's just so unique to have the scenery come to you, you
Oh,
know?
that's a great way to put it. Oh, good
Yeah.
times. Well, I'd
How
have
about
to,
you?
who would I take?
Yes. I think you mentioned the boys to Denver.
I'm really hoping that we can make it work. That I want to take Oliver, our oldest. I want to take Oliver on the Rocky Mountain route that goes from Denver to Moab, Utah, because I mean those are two places that we're very familiar with, and we've been so many times, and we love them. And I think that getting to show him that part of the country from a completely different view and have us not be in the car, because you know me, I'm fine doing a car for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
And I know that most people, including you, that's not their favorite. But Oliver for sure has made it clear that he would prefer to have more time outside of a vehicle. And
Yes.
I think having such an interactive, fun, different way to see a place that we're so familiar with would be amazing. So I would pick him, and we would do the route that goes to Moab, Utah, for
And
sure.
is that the one that has the bar car in the back? Because we kept hearing about the a car where there's like a piano and like an old time saloon type of bar. Is that
Yes,
that?
it's that one. So the and I think we shouldn't talk too much about it because I want to save some mystery, because I'm manifesting it that we are going to be on the Rocky Mountaineer from Denver to Moab or reverse in 2024. I'm manifesting that right now.
I hear ya.
So without putting much information out there and too much speculation, yes, there is a fun, like loungy car. It's a little more old west. It's all the silver leaf service instead of having the gold leaf, because it's a very different sort of train. But that's all the information that I know about it, because
Okay.
I'm trying not to research it too much because I want to be surprised when we get to do it.
And if I remember correctly, only the gold leaf is available only in Canada because of the height of the tunnels. Is that correct?
Oh, you know what? You're totally right. That I forgot about that,
I,
because that's part of the route down there is they can't do the double decker.
yeah, it's too tall of a train.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, good times. I would love
Yes.
to do it again, but
Uh, too. Me too. I'm following Anastasia from the Fairmont hotels, and she has some beautiful stuff that she posts of all the wonderful dining and rooms that they have at that hotel chain. It is so luxurious and nice.
yeah. And oh,
She was
gosh, she
she
was one of the coolest people that we met, I think.
yeah, did that did such a nice job on it. And then it was nice that they were all there for questions and getting us to really, dig into the things that they wanted us to explore. That was really fun.
Yeah.
With in the Fairmount Lake Louise, I have to go back because of Spas Explore that we're also creating. And they're building a new, they're building a new sauna based wellness center there.
Oh, that's
So
right. I forgot about that on the shore just to the west side of the chateau. It's that whole big complex.
yes, and I loved as a wellness person to see the investment that that hotel chain is making in the wellness movement, or the investment. People are starting to turn inward and take care of our own health. And I love that the Fairmont is embracing that and building a humongous, wonderful healing facility in their hotel.
We do have to go back and check
We,
it out, because
yes,
it's our moral obligation.
I think so.
Well, is there anything else you want to say about our whole Rocky Mountaineer experience there? I think we're gonna have to record another episode about our actual adventures after the train
Well, yeah,
because I mean,
definitely plan a little bit of time in Vancouver. I love that we rented e-bikes and went around Stanley Park. Speaking of geeking out, me on an e-bike is
oh my
geek.
gosh.
Um,
Thank
yeah,
goodness those e-bikes have governors.
I only raced one car. Come on.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, no, that would be something I'd recommend to definitely take a little bit of extra time on both ends if you
Mhm.
can. Yeah,
Yeah, 100% agree because I mean as amazing as the scenery is, it's such a tease to see it and then not actually go experience it. So
exactly.
yeah, so for us, I mean, we got to Vancouver a few days early. We did some boat stuff, we did some like Vancouver tourism, and then afterwards we, explored the whole Lake Louise area and did some hiking there and just enjoyed being at the chateau. And then we had time in Banff doing the actual national park and hiking, and then Calgary. And Calgary is such a cool city. And
Yeah,
oh,
loved Cal too. That was really cool to see. I would just say, the time of year we went, we were a little too excited to go hiking and did that where you fall into the snow to your knees because it's melting.
oh, that's right. I forgot about that because you and I were gonna do that hike on the east shore of Lake Louise.
What? No, you're not. We're like, oh yeah, we'll make it work. It'll work for us.
Well, I really thought we would have been fine with those, our little crampon thingies that we put on our shoes,
Yeah.
but
Oh, we did do that. We did. Yep.
there was
No.
that one step you took just slightly off the trail when you went hip deep.
Yeah. That was the end of that hike.
Oh,
So
good
that's,
times.
be aware that you might not get to see the blueness of the water, but you will still get the epicness of that Chateau Lake Louise Hotel.
Yeah.
Really love
So,
IT. Can we just throw that in? That was part of it, wasn't it?
our afternoon tea was amazing, and that was
Wasn't
at the
that part of
chateau too. Yeah.
I think it is part of the train trip too.
No, it's a bonus that
I
you
did.
can add on. So the way that
Yeah.
it's set up,
So lovely.
yeah, the way that it's set up, you've got your base that is, the actual train journey, and then you can add time on either side or both sides, at in Banff or in Vancouver or wherever you want to. And if you do choose that extra time at Lake Louise, yeah, then you can do the awesome stuff like afternoon tea that was so delicious. And I mean, give me fancy finger food any day.
I know. On the big tower. Yeah, I do love those things, don't I? And glassware and all that, teacups.
Yes, I can't wait to see the glassware you leave at my house when you come down in
I
a
know
couple weeks.
about get it.
Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to just kind of put out there in case anybody is like newly inspired for the whole Rocky Mountaineer experience is if you want to see more than just one leg, you can instead of doing Vancouver to Banff and then either departing from there or taking the train back, you can also make it a circle journey where you go from Vancouver to Banff and then do a nice luxury motor coach up to Jasper and explore Jasper, and then you can do the journey through the clouds or the journey through the rainforest routes back, and those will bring you back to Vancouver, so you can actually make it.
Ooh.
I know, right? It'd be a whole loop, and it would be
So that would be
amazing.
5 days, about 5 days to do that.
I think it would take more than that because you've got 2 days on the train between Vancouver and Banff, and then you'll need some time to do some sightseeing, and then you get up to Jasper, and you'll need some time to do some sightseeing up there, and then there's two routes that go back. One of them is 2 days. The journey through the clouds is 2 days, and then the one that goes through the rainforest and goes through Quesnel, that one is a 3-day journey.
Okay.
So yeah, so ultimately you'll either have 4 or 5 days on the train. So bring a good book, bring a camera, and then force yourself to relax because the cell service was absolute craporama.
Yes, right. No, that is good. That's really something actually people are looking for when they shop for travel these days, as a matter of fact.
Well, I'll tell you, the Rocky Mountaineer is a great way to cut
I,
yourself off from the world.
It is. Yeah. And that's a good thing sometimes.
Yeah. Well, this was delightful to talk about and rehash. Oh, that was the other thing. It popped in my mind and then it left me. I wanted to say that we went on this train in April when the season began. So
Yeah.
you were talking about the lakes being
Yep.
frozen.
I think
So
it within days of us being there. So it's a, it's not really a guarantee that it will or won't be,
yeah,
but you're
yeah,
looking for the blue water. Just, know that nature will let you know what's going to happen.
yeah. And I think that this year the Lake Louise had thawed, but I think it was like May 10th or 12th or something like that. So that's when you really get the beautiful colors. But and then so it goes from beginning of April to mid to end of October is when you can do the Canadian routes, and the same for the route in Colorado and Utah. So it's a great either spring, summer, or fall adventure.
Yes, they probably don't go when those mountains are full of snow, do they?
No, they don't.
That would
That would be more like a Florida adventure, but Rocky
Yes.
Mountaineer doesn't really fit here.
There are lots of luxury trains. Is that true? Do you know? Are there
Not
other ones?
anymore. Not anymore. I mean, especially being here in St. Augustine, where it's, the hub of like Henry Flagler and his fancy trains. We don't have them really down here in the Southeast anymore. You can do Amtrak for general like transportation,
Yeah.
but you don't get there's nothing that is a comparable luxury train experience in North America. How about that?
Well, that is what I want to know. Thank you. Yes, that was my question.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right. It
well,
like
thank you for being on and chatting with me about this again. It's always a
any
delight.
always, and let's do it again.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed having Kelly around, we've got several different podcast episodes where Kelly has done some chit chat with me, where we talk about wellness, where we talk about we had an amazing trip to Carson City a couple years ago and Lake Tahoe. I feel like you've been on here to talk with me so many times, but
If not, we can just start making them because have we talked about Hawaii, the
oh
volcano?
gosh, yeah, we
No,
need
I like
to
about Hawaii.
record about that. Yeah, so stay tuned or tune back in for more of Kelly on Two Travel Dads podcast. And go ahead and subscribe through wherever you get your podcasts and give us a follow over at Two Travel Dads on Instagram and twotraveldads.com. Thank you for joining me today, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Two Travel Dads podcast is written and produced by Rob and Chris Taylor in St. Augustine, Florida. Check out past episodes and detailed show notes at twotraveldads.com/podcast-episodes. If you would like to be on Two Travel Dads podcast, please send us a note through our website or find out more at twotraveldads.com/work.